Hi, my name's Mike, and we're going to be talking about how to read a tape measure. Now, this is your typical tape measure, 1 inch. This is what it looks like in between 1 inch markers. Now, I added these two lines over here to represent 30 seconds of an inch. So these two smallest lines are 30 seconds of an inch. Some tape measures will have that 30 seconds of an inch within the first foot of the tape measure. After that, it goes to 16ths of an inch all the way across like this. So if you're looking at your tape measure and you see a bunch of lines and all of a sudden it seems like they widen up a little bit, that's because the 30 seconds line disappeared. Now, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. If you can come up with the jingle and try to figure out, yeah, 30, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. That's what you want to go with to know all of the measurements on a tape measure. 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Figure out a way to memorize those lines, and then you'll know 30 seconds of an inch, 16ths of an inch, eighth of an inch, fourth of an inch, half inch marks, and 1 inch. Now, when I talk about that, I say that because there is 63 fractions in 1 inch. There's 63 different fractions. Of course, a lot of them are reduced to their lowest terms. So every time you see a longer line, the fraction is reduced to its lowest terms with the longer line. As a matter of fact, the longer the line is, the more that fraction can be reduced, especially on the half inch. Now let's go and show you all the fractions that are in a typical on a typical uh, 1 inch mark. Now, for some reason, I didn't pull that up, and let's move myself over here like that, and then we'll go to this tape measure right here. So these are the fractions that are represented. The smallest lines are 30 seconds of an inch, all the way up here on the top. And uh, these are all reduced to their lowest terms. Remember, I said the half inch has the most, you can reduce it by 2, and that becomes 8/16. Reduce it by 2 again, it's 4/8, and 2 divided by 4 is 2, and 4 divided by 8 is 2, which comes down here to this 1/2. And all these fractions, but there's 63. A lot of them are improper fractions, such as this fraction here, and all the fractions that are within these are all improper. Can you use those fractions to represent? Yeah, you can, but no one's going to know what you're talking about unless they watch this video and they know all 63 fractions. So feel free to take a screenshot of that. Those are all the fractions that are located within 1 inch. And if you look at the fractions, ironically, it actually looks like the tape measure, the triangle. So review this triangle right here to the half inch, and then we'll go back to this right here, and you can see that the fractions, the more you can reduce it, actually goes. I thought that was kind of neat. Is it the fractions actually look like a tape measure when you put them next to each other on a graph. Like you can look right here and you can see this triangle going in next to the actual tape measure. Now, this is a pretty in-depth, so just remember 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. No, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. And you can come up with a jingle to try to learn that, and then you'll know all of the tips and tricks. Now, 1 30 seconds, 2 30 seconds, 3 30 seconds. So that's 3 30 seconds of an inch right there. So if you were cutting and you went 3 ticks in, you know that that would be a 30 seconds. If you went 4 ticks in, you would know that that is 3 30 seconds. It would be 4 30 seconds, but reduced to its lowest terms, it's 1/8, right? So 4 30 seconds, and what we can do is, uh, so 4 30 seconds, 4 can be divided by 4 one time, right? And then you go 32 divided by 4 is 8. So 1/8. I mean, you just do the math that you learned in elementary school, and you'll see that all these fractions line up. And if we went so 16 30-seconds is 1/2. So if we went 16 30-seconds, and we divided 16 by 2 and 32 by 2, you could reduce that, and it would come up with these longer reduction numbers. Let's go back over here to the I had it pulled up. There it is. So 16 by 32, if you divide that by 2, you're going to come up with 8/16. And if you divide that by 2 again, you're going to come with 4/8. And if you divide that by 2 again, you're going to come up with 2/4. And finally, if you divide that by 2, you're going to come up with 1/4 if you wanted to reduce it. But we all know that 16 30-seconds, 16 can divide into 32. So you can just go 16 divided by 32 is going to be 1/2 down the bottom. So it's pretty simple math. I mean, you're looking at 3/4. So what is 3/4 in 30 seconds? Well, it's 24 30-seconds. But reduced to its lowest terms, you've got 3/4 of an inch. Now you can sit here and, like I said, take a snapshot of this screen right here. You can learn the fractions, and there's a lot involved in a tape measure. But most people don't. You don't have to know all that. But here's the knowledge for you. All the fractions. There's 63 fractions, including the 62 fractions, but then you've got the 1 inch, which is 1/1, and then you've got 32/32, which is 1 inch, and everything that is the same number over the other number we all know is 1. Now, I believe that is all you really need to know about how to read a tape measure and read the 30-seconds of an inch, the 16ths of an inch, the eighths, the fourths, and the halves. Just remember there's 32. You're going to count all the lines if you're counting in the 30-seconds. If you're counting in the 16ths, you're going to count the next largest line, but you'll skip over. So 1, 2, 3, and what are you adding on the bottom of that line? 16. So 4/16. Well, 4/16, 4 can divide into 16 4 times. So you got the fraction down here of 1/4, because 4 will divide. So here's 5, 5/16, 7/16, 8/16. Well, 8/16 is 1/2 whenever you divide it down. So 9/16, and you just go so forth all the way over till you get to 16/16, which is 1 inch. On the 1/8 side, you're going to count 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're adding the 8 on the bottom, so 5/8. And then you've got a 6/8. Well, 6/8 is 3/4 of an inch whenever you reduce it to its lowest terms. 7/8, and of course 8/8. So the 8 is representing 8 clicks or 8 counts over to 8/8, which is 1. Same thing on the 1/4 inch, which a lot of people can read the 1/4 inches pretty easy. So 1, 2, 2/4, 1/4, 2/4 divided is 1/2. And then you go to 3/4, and then you go to 4/4, which is 1. 1/2. 1/2 is 1/2, and 2/2 is 1. Hope this video helps you out, and don't forget to recap. There's 63 fractions within an inch, but when reduced to your lowest terms, you have these. Remember, the smallest line is 32. The next line is a 16th. The next line is an 8th. The next line is a 4th. The next line is a 1/2 inch. And the largest line on a tape measure is 1. 32, 16 8421. 32 16 8421. Have a good day.